The threat from China is increasing. Most recently, we've seen Chinese vessels intentionally ram Philippine Coast Guard ships.
Magandang araw mga ka-aerial defense, may ibabahagi na naman ako sa inyo. Dahil ngayong araw na ito ay may pag-uusapan tayo tungkol sa ating depensa, US forces nagbabala sa posibleng digmaan sa China at tinawag na banta ang China sa Indo-Pacific. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, huwag mo muna kalimutan mag-like, share and subscribe. Mag-comment ka na rin kung taga saan ka para alam namin kung saan umaabot ang aming video. Ang kalihim ng Air Force na si Frank Kendall ay nagsalita tungkol sa lumalaking banta na ibinibigay ng China sa rehiyon ng Indo-Pacific, sa isang pangunahing talumpati sa isang kombensyon ng Air at Space Forces Association sa labas lamang ng Washington. Ipinaliwanag ng kalihim na ang Partido Komunista ng China ay patuloy na namumuhunan ng malaki sa mga capabilities, operational concept at mga organisasyon na partikular na idinisenyo upang talunin ang kakayahan ng Estados Unidos at mga kaalyado nito. Ipinaliwanag pa ni Kendall na, nung naglalakbay sa rehiyon ng Indo-Pacific sa nakalipas na 15 taon, nakita niya ang lumalagong alalahanin at alarma mula sa ibang mga bansa hinggil sa lumalaking kakayahan at intensyon ng China, sa pagpuna na ang Estados Unidos ay dapat na maging handa para sa isang potensyal na digmaan sa hinaharap.
China continues to push boundaries of acceptable behavior with aggressive actions directed toward its neighbors. Most recently, we've seen Chinese vessels intentionally ram Philippine Coast Guard ships, and Chinese aircraft repeatedly violate Japanese airspace. The threat from China is increasing. I have instructed our briefers to stop referring to the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Liberation Army as a future or emerging or potential threat. I've been closely watching the evolution of its military for 15 years. China is not a future threat. China is a threat today. The Chinese Communist Party continues to invest heavily in capabilities, organizations, and operational concepts designed specifically to defeat the ability of the United States and its allies to project power in the Western Pacific. China's extensive and growing space order of battle, both targeting sensors and counter-space weapons, its massive inventory of weapons targeting our land and sea assets, especially air bases and aircraft carriers, and its increasingly sophisticated counter-air capability all pose serious threats today. The next generation air dominance family of systems. The overall family of systems comprising Collaborative Combat Aircraft, or CCAs, the NGAD platform, and other associated programs is moving forward aggressively. We are going full speed ahead on the first increment of CCAs. Here at AFA, you will see full-scale mock-ups or prototypes of the aircraft being designed and built by the winners of the initial CCA competition, Anduril and General Atomics. Both of these aircraft will be flying in the near future, and at least one of them will be in our inventory in meaningful numbers in the next few years. General Wilsbach and others will be talking about the CCA contribution to air superiority later in the conference. The technology to support CCAs is maturing rapidly, as evidenced in part by my flight in an AI-controlled F-16 a few months ago. Just to be clear, there was also a very capable test pilot in that aircraft with me. But we did let the software fly the plane through about a dozen engagement scenarios, almost all of which were against another F-16. It was a pretty even fight. As I expect everyone here knows, we are reevaluating the NGAD platform design concept. The initial impetus for this was a concern over the affordability, both total program cost and high unit cost. As the Air Force Operational Committee looked at the design concept, which is essentially an F-22 replacement, concerns expanded to include the cost effectiveness of the operational concept, the implications of changes in the threat, the evolving nature of the most stressing operational environments and scenarios we have to plan for, and the maturation of technology, including the introduction of CCAs. We plan to move quickly to conduct the assessment for a variety of reasons, including industrial base impacts and the fact that both the FY25 and FY26 budgets still have to be finalized. But if we are ever going to make a change in the NGAD platform's requirements, now is the time to do so, before the next major contractual commitment and the commitment to proceed towards production. One thing I would like to make very clear: we are not walking away from the core United States Air Force function of providing air superiority. I'll say that again. We are not walking away from the core United States Air Force function of providing air superiority. Thank you. We are looking at what we need in order to achieve air superiority in a manner consistent with the increased threat, the changing character of war, the most cost and combat-effective way. Our fifth operational imperative is all about forward air-based resilience. Our resilience is increasing as we speak. This operational imperative is less dependent on technology maturation or research and development activities. We started looking closely at electronic warfare for several reasons. First of all, we found it was a key enabler in almost every one of our operational imperatives. Second, most of our electronic warfare programs are platform-centric, so there wasn't a unifying focus on this area as a whole. My own experience suggested that this is a historically neglected area that can have oversized impact, but doesn't compete well in our internal budget battles relative to other priorities. We established a cross-cutting operational enabler study in this area to try to bring more focus and conscious consideration to electronic warfare. The role and prominence of electronic warfare in the war in Ukraine provided additional incentives. What the team discovered was incredibly important. We believe we can counter advanced adversary kill webs by integrating a combination of electronic warfare tools, operationalized cyber capability, and other elements. I'm excited to see us making fast progress on this mission area for the Department of the Air Force.
Para sa mas madaming update tungkol sa ating depensa, paki-follow at like muna ng aming page na nasa description na ang link. Huwag mo na rin kalimutan mag-like, share and subscribe. Pindutin mo na rin ang bell para updated kayo sa aking mga bagong video. Maraming salamat po.